How's it going, everybody? This is Brian for Pop Culture Crossing, and today we are talking about the 2016 adventure video game Abzû. So, Abzû was developed by Giant Squid Studios and published by 505 Games, and the title of the game seems to be derived from an ancient Mesopotamian god who, according to myth, became a vast ocean, and it was this ocean that became the foundation for the world. Now, the game focuses on exploring rich marine settings, while finding hints and mysteries of a sunken, though technologically advanced civilization. Now, players spend roughly 90% of the game underwater, which should come as no surprise given the theme and the marketing of the game. And throughout the course of the game, you complete various stages, and each stage, the stages have quite diverse environments and themes. So some stages may feel more like reef or Caribbean, kind of shallow water in feel. Others, are way more Arctic, and others are just, straight up deep ocean. So the variety of these environments makes the game progression feel fresh, and you're not just progressing through the same type of environments for the entirety of the game. Now, as you complete each section, well, first of all, there's a very brief introduction, and it kind of informs players that there are these portal elements. So as you complete each stage, you pass through the portal, and then you go through this little hub area. It's not really a hub world, but it's a hub area where you can kind of mark your progress in unlocking the stages. And as you complete a stage, you restore certain elements of the environment's ecosystem and marine life. So the diversity of the stages and the progression, just continuing to feel fresh, are all complemented by the fact that there are these ruins of this mysterious civilization. So all of these provide the hooks for a memorable and pretty immersive few-hour video game experience. Now, simply put, Abzû is a very experiential game. Don't come looking to Abzû for a lot of dialogue and narrative-driven elements, because there are none. And, just pretty bluntly, players just start, you explore, and you experience the game, and it's up to the players to connect the dots of the meta-narrative at the end of the game. Now, Abzû's gameplay elements complement the aquatic motif, and for the most part, the controls are very fluid. They are pretty sensitive, and players can easily kind of lose control, and this can be a bit frustrating at times. For example, if you're swimming up, more often than not, you're going to end up doing a full revolution, and that can be a little annoying, and there's a learning curve there. But in terms of frustrations and cons of a game, that's pretty low in my opinion. I think it honestly meshes well with the oceanic theme of the game, that Abzû's environments are taking place in ocean settings. So it's not like you're in an aquarium or swimming pool or this controlled, fixed setting. So, the ocean's one of these massive, untamed elements of nature. So if you're actually swimming in the ocean, you might have some difficulty with your movement here and there. Now, whether or not this was taken into consideration by Giant Squid Studios when they were creating the controls and gameplay elements is another thing. I don't know about that, but that's just what I was able to extrapolate on my own. Now, I said 90% of the game takes place underwater, but for the time that you play on the surface, those controls are definitely more rigid and more restricted, and it is very clear that the controls and the fluidity of them really are at the top notch when you're underwater, which should be no surprise. Now, the game features some very light puzzle elements. These are easy to complete. They're honestly more of a hassle to complete. They consist of traveling to certain areas on your map to flip switches or unlock switches to open doors to access additional parts of the map. And to be honest with you, these parts of the game were my least favorite when I was experiencing these portions. I couldn't help but thinking, man, I wish I was in another area just exploring around and, seeing the various marine life and plants and just the beauty of the environments. So this was the lowest point of the game, in my opinion. The visuals and art, however, are where Abzû is at its strongest. Now, the art style is a mix that reminded me of the timeless art featured in The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and as well as photorealistic components that invoked memories of being in an aquarium. Now, I say part of the artwork reminded me of The Wind Waker. These are few parts throughout the game, most notably if the player sticks your head out above the surface, or you jump above the surface with like the dolphins or something. You might notice that the sun and the clouds, particularly in the way that they're composed and colored, just kind of the more matte type of coloring, really reminded me of The Wind Waker. It's not like you look at, any given screenshot and you're going to be like, wow, this looks like The Wind Waker. They're just more select elements throughout the game. Now, but these two art styles are blended very seamlessly, and they complement each other quite well. So the marine life is composed of bright, stunning, and seemingly accurate portrayals of their real-life counterparts, and the fluidity of the movement of not only the player, but the flora, the fauna, and, like the currents and jet streams, and just the sheer diversity of the ecosystems that I had mentioned before, just really succeed in making Abzû feel unique and well-realized. And Abzû sound design is also excellent. There's a wide range of marine sound bites that, really augment your engagement with the game. And this is coupled with the music, which is very well done. Austin Wintroy's compositions just, expertly communicate the sense of awe and mystery and adventure that permeates the game Abzû. So, whether it's hearing the clicks of dolphins or a whale song from a pod of humpback whales, or, a light, feathery composition as you're traveling in a jet stream, you really do feel immersed in this game experience. So in the end, Abzû is a solid and beautiful game that, really just is encapsulated in a few hour experience. Don't come, to Abzû if you're looking for a 12 to 15 or more hour game experience. It's really just a few hours, but that could also be a positive. If you're looking for a very condensed gaming experience, you may want to give Abzû a look. Now, I really appreciated the aquatic motif and theme. That was probably the biggest draw for me to the game, and I felt that it meshed very well with the art style, the gameplay, and the music, and it just helped the final package feel very well done. Now, also, so no spoilers here or anything, but there is one element in the game that is kind of this thread of continuity that appears as you progress through some of the various stages, and it pops up pretty frequently. And probably for like the first half of the game, when this element would pop up, it was pretty irritating to me. Not unlike a gameplay level or anything, but I was just like, man, this thing's being annoying. And I was hoping that by the end of the game that we would see its demise. But then something happens probably about 2/3 of the way through the game, and that changed my perspective of it 180 degrees, and I just grew to really like this element. And it was this element that probably became the most memorable part of Abzû for me. Now, this element reflects, and, the progression of it really reflects the notion of, things aren't necessarily what they seem to be at first glance, and also is mirrored by the old adage, don't judge a book by its cover, because I initially was not a big fan of this, but then it became my favorite part of the game. So just the fact that the developers at Giant Squid Studios were able to convey such a message with no dialogue, no narrative reliance or anything like that, but they pretty much just used kinesics or communicating through movement, and proxemics, which was using a environment or physical space to convey a message. Just the fact that they were able to do that and convey such a important message really speaks to their ability to develop games. And, you know, it does have an important message, but it's not as clear as, you know, some players may like it to be, but it's definitely there. And because of this, I am definitely curious to see what Giant Squid Studios' next game will be. And I'm really looking forward to learning out more about that when the time comes for that. And Abzû as a game as a whole definitely grew on me after I had completed it. So have you played Abzû? If you have, what were your thoughts about it? What was your favorite experience of the game? And if, you know, some people on the internet have compared Abzû to Journey. I personally have not played Journey. So if you've played both of them, let me know what your thoughts were about the similarities and differences between the two. But please be wary of spoilers and use the appropriate spoiler tags there. If you have not played Abzû, but you're interested in it, which you know, probably are because you're watching this review, what's the thing that has piqued your interest most for the game? Let me know your thoughts there, either in the comments below here or on Twitter, and we'll keep the conversation going there. Please feel free to also check out a written, slightly more detailed review at popculturecrossing.com. And, you know, as always, if you enjoyed this review, I appreciate it if you would subscribe and follow and share. And I appreciate your help. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye.